We work hard as physicians to take care of the health and well-being of our patients. But when it comes to our money, do we have the same condition of care? Probably not. Let's change that together. Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast, where we'll fight and advocate for your financial literacy. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. Thanks for being here. Let's jump into the show. Hey guys, I want to welcome you guys to the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. We've got a great episode this week. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button as well as the notifications bell, and be sure to like, comment, and share if you like this episode, and we'll get into this week's sponsor and show. Today's episode is sponsored by Dr. Heather Fork of Doctors Crossing. Dr. Heather Fork is a retired dermatologist based out of Austin, Texas, and she is a career coach and strategist and the founder of the Doctors Crossing. She's come out with this new course called LinkedIn Networking for Physicians. The significance of this course is that in today's hyper-competitive, hyper-dynamic, ever-changing economy, success is all about information, speed, access, networks, and execution speed. So part of your success in today's economy relies on a strong network of collaborators, partners, and acquaintances who can help you accomplish your goals a lot faster and more efficiently. If you're operating under the mantra of doing it alone or doing it all by yourself, there are better, faster, easier, and more efficient ways to get things done today. You can save a lot of time, energy, and money by learning how to leverage social media to network online. Dr. Heather Fork's course is a brand new course designed to teach you step-by-step how to efficiently network using online, LinkedIn, social media networking tools, tactics, and strategies. She's been a pioneer in the field of physician counseling, physician burnout, career transitions, and physician coaching. Her course is a 6-module course with 22 videos where you can learn at your own pace, on demand, and teach you how to strategically use LinkedIn to your advantage. It also has a bonus PDF guide, how to rock your informational interviews. So if you're interested, you can check out the course in the link in the show notes below. As a special bonus, you can also check out Dr. Fork's Carpe Diem resume kit that when purchased with the LinkedIn course, you get a 23% discount. Or if you want to purchase separately, you can click on the link in the show notes below as well. Thanks for listening, and on to the show. Welcome everybody to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as usual, we tout the 4 different types of freedom: financial, location, emotional, and time freedom. And today we have a very well-renowned guest in her field in the physician coaching space, Dr. Faryal Michaud. And she is a palliative care physician by training, but she is a mindfulness coach, teacher, and she teaches women clients how to live on purpose and with meaningful intention. So she's been gracious to come on to the podcast and share her wisdom. So Faryal, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here as a guest on your show. I love what you've been doing.
Yeah, our mission is to just get the word out, spread the word out, all the different information, resources, all of the products, services, and people that can help others on their journey. So we'll get started. I know you're based out of Hawaii, but just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into what you're doing. And I think a lot of the audience will be really fascinated.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so I am actually a palliative care physician, as you shared with your audience. I have been practicing medicine for a little over 21 years now. I trained as an internal medicine physician, and I was an academic hospitalist for a while. And, while I was practicing hospital medicine, it just occurred to me that people were just being treated for the same thing, getting in and out of the hospital without having meaningful conversation about what do you want to do? So, for example, a good example always comes to my mind would be a sweet little, 78-year-old lady with a bad heart valve that was really not surgical. So they would come to the hospital, we give them treatment, and family would think that, quote unquote, she's getting better. But we'll see her the next week because that non-surgical valve isn't getting better. So I just was always like, why aren't we having meaningful conversation with people, asking everyone, knowing your time may be limited, how would you like to spend it? So that's what I actually decided to shift careers and started our palliative care program. I lived in Sacramento, California at that time, and I started an inpatient program, and later we had an outpatient program. My purpose was really trying to listen to patients, knowing what their values and goals were, and then help them align the medical treatment we offer them to those issues. So palliative care came very naturally to me, and I felt like it was a natural progression of my medical career. But what was fascinating about how coaching came into this is that, because of what I do, I really touch people at the very last chapters of their lives. Like by the time I see them, they've already had a diagnosis. Sometimes they've already gone through 3 lines of chemo and that's failed. So I just really got into having a lot of deep, meaningful conversations and listening to people talk about their regrets or when they retell their life story, all the shoulda, couldas. And then it just occurred to me that I really love to have this conversation more upstream. So, what if I asked people what their wishes and goals were in their well years, and then trying to align their life with those things? And just coaching sort of was a natural progression of palliative care as well. So, yeah, it's fascinating that I hold, the seriously ill patients, but also otherwise well patients that don't really focus on what matters most. And I like to be a gentle wake up call to all of us that our life is finite and we should do the best we can to live the life we were meant to live.
That's a that's a wonderful story, and what jumps out to me is that you chose to delve into and expand on the deeper aspects of patient care and medicine. Really focus on the meaningful experience, as opposed to the assembly line type of healthcare system that we're um, accustomed to. So I think that's really, and then your learnings and what you got out of it, that really helped you in what you're doing now. So one question I think the audience would have is, when you focused on these meaningful experiences, and when you looked into coaching, was that more just because it more aligned with your values, or did you see something in the healthcare system that caused you to question the way things were being done? I'm curious as to how that to expand upon the meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very, very good question. Like, why even think of coaching? And so I remember we used to do self care in my palliative care position when we were in California. And my chaplain one time told me, she's like, Dr. Michaud, you're so inspiring. You should really work with well people too. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But I just don't know what I would do with well people. Like, what would I offer them? And it actually was my own personal work with a life coach. I always consider myself to be someone who's somewhat balanced and somebody who tries to, have a very healthy life outside work, and then trying to be very present in my own life experience. But really it wasn't until I had a life coach myself where I was able to take those very meaningful teaching and principles that I knew as a mindfulness teacher and kind of like combine it with the tools of life coaching. So when I was coached personally, it really deeply impacted me. And then I thought, I want to pursue this. I want this for other people. And as physicians, as moms, I can just, talk about my own experience. I'm 52 years old. I have two teenage girls. And I just remember when my children were younger. I mean, even now, it's like when I'm at work, I can't completely be at work because I'm focused on what's going on at home. At home, I'm struggling because, I'm still pajama charting at night. So there was so much of this, work life conception and misconception and imbalance in lives that was creating so much unhappiness in a lot of colleagues that I saw, female or male. And so it just really meant that I felt a pull, almost like a calling, to try to help all the people that were in my line of work during, to say, it matters that you live intentionally in the moment right now with all that's going on in your life. So I think you can look at that transformation that I experienced myself and feeling like I really want that for other people. And the experience that I always share with people is that, if you ever go on a vacation, and like the very first time I went to Kauai, just one of the islands in Hawaii, was 2011. And I remember when I was in Kauai, I was thinking, why is it that any person who's ever been to this island that I know didn't tell me about it? It was that feeling like this is such an amazing, beautiful thing. And I'd go to tell my friends, I'm like, have you been to Kauai? And they said, oh, I went there for my honeymoon. And I said, why didn't you tell me about Kauai? So I sort of feel like life coaching, because it's so profoundly made my life experience from like watching a black and white movie to a high definition experience where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm present, I'm living this life, and things that are not working, I have the tools to manage my mind. So then that's what I was like, I want to do this for other people.
Yeah, that's a amazing story. And I like how you incorporated just the how nature and just g- getting down to the simple things in life, like family, relationships, love, compassion, over the material things, the hustle, the grind, all of these things that these are all societal cultural values. So I love that. I know a lot of physicians, they're interested in these days, they're want to transition careers, maybe take their expertise and help other clients. So how does one become a life coach, and what sort of qualities would benefit a person who's interested in life coaching?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. And I would have to say that it's being a life coach, you can be a life coach and, hardly make any money, and you can be a life coach and it's a multi-million dollar industry, and people are easily, and I know personally physician colleagues that are, I would consider dear friends of mine, that are truly making multi seven figure income doing this kind of work. And so it's something that you definitely can do. Life coaching is not a regulated industry as like in medicine is. So you can just get a $48 course online and call yourself a life coach. And I think even the term life coach is kind of funny. It's like, you're a coach for life. Like you and if you think about it, like I think life experience, I think if you've had a lot of life experiences and you've had a lot of shareable wisdom, like I feel like as a life coach, me personally, is that I give my clients the gift of perspective because of years of practicing medicine and because of more than 10 years of practicing palliative care. And I feel like in some way I have been a life coach for a long time. And I decided to actually take additional courses to become a certified life coach. Now, there's a lot of different certifications. And again, they're not all, you can go be a life coach with this person or that person, or there's high performance life coaching. And I'm not trying to endorse a particular school. I personally went to the life coach school and I did certification, which was a 6 months long program. And I love that group. I really love the community, and a lot of physician colleagues of mine who are also life coaches. Not all of them, but most of them went to that school. So I like the camaraderie. But having said that, I personally invest in a lot of coaching myself. And I am currently working with a coach that is not part of the life coach school. And I very much enjoy working with him. So what I want to say is there's unlike medical school, there's a lot of ways to become a life coach. And again, you don't even need a certification. I think you can share your wisdom because you can be a coach. You can be a coach to guide people. But my particular school, the life coach school, what I loved about them is that they really teach the concepts that I have learned and known as a mindfulness teacher in a bite-size, easily teachable concepts that clients can then incorporate in their lives. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I love that because a lot of physicians when they think oh, why do I need a life coach, or why do I have to pay for these types of services, and they'll pay 300,000 for an MBA or a degree. So but I think some of these institutions, they don't teach you the real world way to connect with clients and to really help clients out of their troubles. So I think coaching is really it's a burgeoning industry, and there's a lot of resources out there, and there's a lot of new different and types of ways to help others. So
yeah, thank you so much. I do want to say one thing. It's true. You don't need to have life coach to navigate through life, and I think you can on your own. Truly, I have been a student of personal development for years, and you can read your own book, you can listen to your own podcast. I mean, it's a beautiful time we live in right now, because you can tap into what, I don't remember when was the last time I watched television. There's so much information out there, and you can just really enrich yourself without any help. But I think that you can coach yourself, honestly. If you're someone who is actively engaged in self-development and self-growth, do you need a life coach? And I think the quickest answer to that would be, let's say you want to build a particular physique. Like, let's say you are someone who wants to get really good results at the gym. Can you do it yourself? You can, but if you invested in personal trainer, and if you worked with someone who not only guided you, but, give you feedback, give you encouragement, told you the, blind spots, the way that maybe you're lifting the wrong way. This is what I'm saying. You can get to both ways. One way you may get injured, you may make mistake, you may take a longer time, you may have to take off 3 months because you hurt yourself. The other way, you're doing it under the guidance of someone with wisdom and someone who will see your blind spots that you can't. So to answer that, does everyone need a life coach? I personally believe that if you're someone who really wants to invest into creating your life and having the best version of you show up, a higher version of you, I would think investing in a life coach is, if you have the resources, because they are not, they're not inexpensive. But I would say that if you are someone who can do that, it's a huge investment in you, in who you are.
I know you have several courses and several products coming, so feel free to let the audience know, as well as how the audience can connect with you.
To share about what my programs are, I have two offering. I have a paid program that women physicians, they're not all women physicians. I have some oncology nurses. I have like a handful of like graphic designer and social workers, but mostly I would say 95% are female physicians. I have a group coaching program, and it's called Living Intentionally. It's mindful coaching and yoga. I, as a mindfulness teacher, also believe the importance of mindfulness and meditation and yoga. So I have hired certified yoga teachers. Both are actually living in Honolulu, live classes in addition to recorded sessions. These two, Ami and Jen, are one of the most amazing and one of the most celebrated yoga teachers here in the community. But what I want to offer you is that I have a paid program that women get to join me for 6 months. And it's called Living Intentionally. We go over all aspects of life, because what I've learned, there are coaches that only coach for money, or there are coaches that coach women for weight loss or time management. I've learned that what we struggle with is our relationship with life. It's our relationship with time. It's our relationship with money. It's our relationship with food. So once you learn how to have a more mindful relationship with life, all these issues sort of fall in proper places. And what's fascinating is that women are in my program and, they lose 40 pounds, those of them who want to lose weight. And one of my clients said, that one of the biggest celebration for her this New Year's resolution is that she didn't have to pick weight loss as a resolution anymore, because she already managed her mind around it. It's not a diet. It's not hey, this is what you're going to do, but it's what is your relationship with food? The same applies to time management, clutter control. The same applies to your relationship with your spouse, with your children, with your in-laws, with your colleagues. The same principles. So it's a 6 months program, and it's fairly small. I don't like to have a very large group, and we meet weekly in a group setting. These are live sessions. They have access to my very expansive private portal, which are, lessons, worksheets, self-paced program that people can really enjoy. They also have access to a private podcast that kind of teaches them some of these principles. But I also offer free services, and I wanted to showcase that for all of your listeners. As a palliative care physician, it really is important for me to have an impact on people whose lives have been affected by serious illness. So I actually offer free coaching to people with serious illness. What that really means, like, let's say, God forbid, one of your listeners has been, or their parent has been, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. While I'm a doctor, I'm not your doctor, but I will be glad to get on a call, help you navigate your thoughts, straighten your anxiety, or whatever that means for you. So I do coach people with serious illness for free. That's not a group coaching. Some of those clients want to work with me, and those who choose to work with me and want to pay to continue working in a serious illness capacity also have that opportunity. So the very few one-on-ones I have are for my seriously ill patients and their families.
Wow, that's wonderful. So thanks so much. I'll be sure to. You've dropped so many gems of wisdom. I love your compassion, and you can just feel your authenticity and your love for people. So thanks so much, and we'll drop all of your resources in the show notes. And we wish you a very prosperous and happy 2022.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, and hope to see you at White Coat, investor conference again.
Yeah, it's going to be in person this year. So I'm looking forward to that. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that fantastic episode with our special guest this week. Just remember, as a shout out to this week's sponsor, Dr. Heather Fork, MD of the Doctor's Crossing, who has come out with her new online course devoted to teaching you how to leverage social media to network online effectively for your next job, your career, or as a side income. Again, social media is very valuable in today's society. It can be used for marketing, advertising, selling, communication with your followers, growing your brand, influence, followers, as well as networking. So don't miss out. It's really important in today's age to really leverage technology, especially in the COVID age. So go to the link in the show notes below, and we'll see you back next week. I'm excited that you made it for another episode. You are truly the best. If you've been following the show for a while, you know that my passion is to bring you the education you need to find your path to financial freedom. Please come back week after week for new content, new resources, and great guests. Until then, if you haven't already, please be sure to check out the website, www.drchrislumdphd.com for more support. I'll see you next week.